Good evening, friends and enemies. Welcome. Thank you for popping in. Thank you for enjoying so far where we are on the Fool Me Once Behind the Curtain. Now, if you're following along in order, then you should have just seen Swingin' in Hell, which I think everybody here so far in the chats have. Hello, Surly Urchin, Ryan, going to be a special guest in a future episode. Hello, Mom. Hello, Ding. Jillian, you look pretty good in that video there. Surly video. Well, fine, folks. This is going to be the first of 7 streams specifically for Fool Me Once Behind the Curtain episodes, where we dive deep into the world of Fool Me Once, the album that we released back in October. Now, both here and on our social medias and on our Discord, we have a whole questionnaire section that we've been gathering a little bit. Now, this being the first episode where we don't have a lot so far, but as this builds, we want to answer any of your burning questions regarding the story, perhaps the characters, perhaps the making of, perhaps how it was done. Well, I'm very curious myself, and well, it feels like something we've been working on for so long, and finally is now unleashed upon you all. Gonna revisit some memories ourselves, shall we? Now, what you have just seen so far, if you're caught up on the story, if you've been watching the playlist of Fool Me Once, then what you saw was the introduction. You saw Sleep, Oh Sleep. Haunting little lullaby, if you will. And then Max Rudolph's first introduction. Now, Max Rudolph is the investigator who is seeing some fishy things going on throughout the whole city, and he's got to put his finger on it, one way or another. Now, we may or may not have a special guest soon who looks an awful lot like Max Rudolph, and soon might be even as soon as next week. But you didn't hear it from me. Then we kicked it in with the first full band song, Swingin' in Hell. Now, a little personal pep talk of a song there. Surly, it's a documentary, right? Yes, basically. I feel like just a little bit of backstory is in order. Now, we've done a handful of these behind the curtains, as you might remember last year. Now, this is our first one since I think our birthday episode back in maybe August or September of 2020. So it's been a moment. We had Festival of Ghouls, and then we had the winter, and and here we are, almost on the front of spring, and it's time. And it's time. Many of you have seen all of this footage. You maybe saw Festival of Ghouls. Maybe you got the album. And if you have the album from our Bandcamp, there's a booklet, a digital booklet that tells all of this whole story. Not quite as much detail as we'll be going into, but it tells much of the story, and you can click on the titles of the songs, and that takes you to the footage that we're showing now, releasing in full. And it's been long enough, and it's time for the rest of you to see it. It's time for us to talk about it. Okay? Happy March, folks. I would like, if I may, to bring in my co-host. Fine folks out there, everyone, I would like you to give a very warm welcome to Wicked Ida!
Oh.
Ah, yes. Yes. Good.
Hello.
Bringing in some light and some color here to us all. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Terrific. It's good to be in front of this microphone. I've missed it so much.
It's been too long.
This is
We've missed you,
it's my
buddy.
favorite microphone. It's a little. So it was a fixer-upper, but it's back. And it's missed you.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
That's very sweet.
Here, let me scoot over.
I know,
for
I was
a
very
second so you
sneaky.
can-
I was in the chat, and now I'm not.
Oh, geez.
What if I was still just periodically in the chat, just for fun?
I think that's fine. There are no rules.
It's true.
Speaking of rule breakers, this curtain that we're behind is really drunk.
Here, you keep doing that, and I'll fix this.
Theater.
Yes.
It's all there.
Ah.
Oh, hello, Ava. Thank you for joining us. Good. Somebody asked us once, was like, why are you behind the curtain? Because you're in front of the curtain, and the idea is we are behind the curtain, and the stage is over there.
Mhm.
I thought that goes without saying.
I guess not.
But I guess not.
No,
Someone
you
was
gotta say it.
confused. They're not here in the chat so far. Otherwise, if they get here, I will
Call us
absolutely
out.
call them
Yes.
out, and it's going to be good. Nightbot is also drunk sometimes, so hopefully Nightbot doesn't say anything that is inaccurate to it. So, Surly Urchin, Ryan Renborg, Allison Remborg, an extended team of fine folks are a part of some of the filming that you've been watching. All of the Max Rudolph segments, and I'm calling it You're a Phony, the music video that we released a handful of months ago, featuring little tiny bodies and big regular size heads,
Little bitty
and
baddies.
little puppet bodies maybe built by, but absolutely yes. Being coy, somebody over here built little bodies for us to put our heads on.
Mhm.
So Ryan of Surly Urchin shot that and all of the Max Rudolph segments. And let me know if the accordion is too loud.
It's never too loud.
Never too loud in my opinion. But
It's never gonna get softer either. That's the thing about accordion.
That's true. That's true. There's no
Can confirm there's
dampener on an accordion.
no volume knob.
Well, Ryan, also someone who plays the accordion from time to time. Is this you, Ryan?
He said to turn it up.
Is he playing? I thought so. Is this one of your jams? I like it. Well, you're probably, most of you are familiar with his name at this point, in the name of Surly Urchin, because all of our music videos, just about, that we've released over the last 10 years have been done by Surly Urchin, and we were so happy to have Festival of Ghouls after 5 years of doing this spooky festival around Halloween, after 5 years, and then finding ourselves gearing up for an album release show and having it booked in August, and it being ready to go at a place that may or may not have been called Exodin. The whole lockdown happened, and none of that transpired. It bought us a little bit of time to finish it just the way we wanted it to. So, silver lining.
It's true.
And we decided to combine it with Festival of Ghouls. So that's, for those of you who don't know the history of that, Fool Me Once, Festival of Ghouls combined last year into our album release show with so many other different artists and bands and projects and people that we don't have time to talk about right now. So, if you missed it, you missed them. But you're going to see us.
Well, thanks, Goth Gremlin. It was fun for us, too.
Yes.
It was a good time. Also, Goth Gremlin
Mhm.
mentioned earlier that they've got a bunch of questions about the lore of Fool Me Once.
Ooh,
So,
this is
any
good
burning
news.
questions you have,
This is great. Well, okay.
Now's the time.
So here's sort of what we're gonna do.
Sorry, yes, not to jump ahead.
No. It's great. I'm curious about these questions and I want to answer them. And most of you probably have heard the album or a version of it or something. The album itself, we had originally started writing as a movie, and talking to Surly Urchin about it, and we were talking and pacing back and forth on our various ends of the phone, and and we're like, let's make a movie. We can do this. And like, cool, I got this idea for a story. I think it needs to be a movie. We've made all these little 5-minute movies. Let's make like that times a bunch. We're like, yeah, let's do it. And one thing led to another, mostly lack of finances and time. So, like, all right, let's pull it back a little bit. We'll make it a stage production, which is kind
Which
of
is
pulling
funny to
it
say
back.
that's pulling it back.
But it is in that there's no post, but there's like just
Sure.
as much pre-production and just as it's. So that's what 2019 was. At Oz Arts, we performed everything that you're going to see and that you are seeing digitally filmed. We did it all live as one long thing, and we've released some of that footage. Come Meet the Reapers and Here Comes Trouble and Target Practice are all from that performance so far, but there's going to be more of that performance. So the Oz Arts versions are from there, and we redid those for this
Yes.
Festival of Ghouls.
Yes.
Everybody following along pretty well. Started as a movie, we scrapped that, then it turned into a play, and then lockdown happened and it kind of turned back into a movie a little.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's kind of what's happening now. Yes, okay, it's always a mouthful.
It is.
My fiend, anthropomantic fiend. Another great YouTuber that we enjoy very much does horror-related things. So anthropomantic fiend. Everybody else, give him a follow. And has stage. I'd love Fool Me Once as a stage play with a cast. Dialogue between the songs. I was totally envisioning that as listening to the songs. Thank you. I agree, and that's part of why we wanted to do some of these in-betweens, these Q's and A's, because there's a lot in the story, there's a lot of subtext that doesn't exist in the actual songs or in the radio snippets, and trying to, even explaining to the band what was going on in the story, and they're like, well, why did this happen? It's like, well, because this happens. Like, when does that happen? It's like, in between these songs. And also, like, 6 months goes by. So, sometimes that happens. It's really meant to be a full stage production and or movie. So, if you want to fill some of these in. Also, though, sometimes it's okay to not know everything.
It's true.
All right. So we're going to try to do these mostly in order. We're going to try to avoid spoilers because there are a couple of big spoilers.
Yes.
Particularly a couple. You know what?
What?
Like, yeah, there are four spoilers, but also the first two. Like, you start at the point of the spoil. This is great.
Basically, Zach carries movies around in his head, and I was around just to listen to kind of the pieces fall together as it went, and then I was still learning lore as it was happening after the album was even recorded. It was like, oh, well, there's this piece and there's this piece, and it's kind of the genius of it is that you did create a whole world and a whole story that was so much bigger than the story itself, which is, a beautiful thing. You're welcome. It's the truth, and it very much was it was funny to try and explain it because it was so big to explain, but then
Yes.
but the songs capture it so well, and it tells such a fun story. I like it a lot. Also, I love the fact that Nightbot is announcing that the album will be out on October 30th.
Oh, everybody, Nightbot
So,
wants
thank
you
you,
to know
Nightbot.
that the album is going to be out on October 30th.
Nightbot has a couple of old announcements that keep coming up, so sorry about
Nightbot
that.
needs
we'll,
a little bit of
we'll refresh him later.
teachings. Well, guess what? The album's already out as of October 30th.
You can get it now.
So you can get it now. It's on Spotify and it's on Bandcamp is our favorite way for you to get it, and we tend to get the most from it. So that's pretty nice. And you get the most from it because you get the little digital booklet and everything that you can follow along, and it has some of these in-betweens. And very pretty things. Jillian helped put them together. We got a bunch of artwork from... It's very neat.
It's gorgeous. It's so cool. Yes, the album's out. Sorry, guys. Sorry to ruin that surprise, but...
Sorry. Yeah, so... I had some people asking, like, they even were familiar with the story, and they thought, but had missed certain things that happened. That's the only reason why I want to be a little coy and be a little bit sneaky about some of the spoilers. Most of the things people know already has been shown enough. People die. Okay? That's all I'm saying.
That's the biggest spoiler.
That's a big one.
Of
the Who
life.
But
oh no, Jillian.
Jillian every time. Jillian is notorious for this behavior.
Jillian loves to spoil things.
Everything.
And it makes me laugh every time, and it makes you guys so mad. Cracks me up.
Some people don't like things to be ruined. Oh.
I don't know who Mephisto. Mephisto?
Mephisto?
Who is that?
Mephisto. Mephisto, played by Sean Bean.
Yep.
I know, guys. You know, we didn't want
ignorance.
to. He actually has his he has it in his contract. He had to die. So
sorry,
R.I.P. Sean Bean as Mephisto. Oh, it's true. So I only had a couple of questions that people had asked ahead of time.
Well, here, hand them to me, and I'll ask them
and
in a
you
very
know what?
Oprah style way.
Yeah, none of them had. I was like, these were the ones from Instagram, and I appreciate any and all Nightbot. You get out of here.
Doing a great job.
Hey, remember Festival of Ghouls? This feels nostalgic. This is like a...
This is beautiful.
Yeah, way back Wednesday with Nightbot. Thank you very much for this. You know, so I asked Instagram, AA asked some questions for the stream we're doing tonight. Check this out. And they filled it out. And none of them were about Fool Me Once. I don't think any of these people have listened to the album.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I kind of love that. So I'm going to ask you these questions anyway.
Okay.
Starting with, how are you, Grandpa? You doing okay?
Who said that?
Brooke.
Happy Mother's Day!
No, but this is...
I don't know if we need to explain it. It's, only the, people know that there's a lot of friend, familial title overlap.
Yeah.
In the way we live our lives.
No, it's true. It's just fun to be each other's grandma and grandpa periodically. It's just nice. It's nice to have multiple grandmas and grandpas. But no, this is a better question from Taylor Lynn. What is your favorite part about performing?
Oh. Do like how I act like I've never read these questions before.
You've never
I'm like,
even considered.
it's like I didn't jot them down myself off of Instagram, and now somebody else needs to jot them down so that I haven't
I did.
heard them.
I just did. No.
Oh yeah, my favorite thing.
What's
about
your favorite thing about performing?
I'm. Some of you know this. I'm annoying about favorites. Because I don't like them. I don't like picking favorites.
What are some of your favorite parts
I know.
of
Let me
performing?
do my little annoying spiel first, so that I can just get it out of the way. No, my favorites tend to change, and I don't know. Having a favorite and missing out on not having a favorite around leads to dissatisfaction and bums me out sometimes. So I decided to not have favorites instead. I hate all performing, and I'm glad I haven't had to do it for a year. Is that the answer you wanted?
Not true at all. Ooh.
I like I like everything about performing, and I dislike a lot about it. We were talking about this, me and some of the band, that there is a lot about performance is awesome, and there's a lot about being a performer that is not awesome, and I think that's so okay.
What are some of the awesome parts?
Well, I want to say it's okay that a lot of it really sucks. Because it does. Because so many people through this pandemic have been like, I miss performing so bad, and it was nothing but good, and it was just like, that's true, but also you're gonna be disappointed when you've realized that, like, it's a lot of, like, just nothing hours in the van, and a lot of, like, showing up to a place, and a lot of, like, loading in a lot of... I embrace and genuinely enjoy a lot of the suck of it, or I wouldn't do it. It is so worth it.
Think about
my favorite part is being resilient.
Think about Festival of Ghouls 2019. That was the biggest stage for Festival of Ghouls up to that point at Oz Arts. It was the most involved production we had done. And we're reaching way back for those memories, but that was a very big performance that required a different side of you because you weren't emceeing it in the same way that you normally did. But what did you enjoy about that show? What was the most fun part of that show that jumps out at you? Like, first thing when I say that, what comes to mind?
That show in particular was the fact that we had gathered together 20 plus people to bring this show to life. There were so many people who volunteered their time, and so many people who were part of the main cast and then extended cast. That was the best. Just something that we never could have done when we first started the band, and something that just from the team building and growing, and the band getting better, and then the extension thereof getting better, and you co-directed the show. I think that was one of the funnest parts was the camaraderie that happened, and how we pulled it off.
It was very cool.
And not just pulled it. It was really good.
It was a fun show.
I can't understate how good that show was. That was really good.
I'm really glad that Ryan was there to capture it.
I am too.
It's a nice thing to know that was preserved.
Yeah.
In history, because it was a good...
It was great.
It was a really good time.
It was a great time. It was a blur. I wasn't sure how it went after it was done. So that one, that one in regards to the, that was a wild show. I maybe just blacked out for the whole thing just to going through it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember enjoying it.
That's good.
I remember.
You enjoyed that performance.
Yes, I was I was. You know what? I've enjoyed others more, but it's one that I'm the most proud of.
Sure. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I completely understand that. That was
Yeah.
it was a very taxing experience, but in the best way.
Yeah.
You want to answer some questions about lore?
Ooh.
Because Goth Gremlin sent us.
Goth Gremlin.
Like
Are you
champ.
still here, Goth Gremlin? Because I'm about to answer your burning question.
So, Goth Gremlin has. I'm going to try and ask these in order. Not in the order that you asked them, but in the order that I think would be easier for you to answer. Was Archie a vampire before he went into the partnership with Harold?
That's a great question. Sorry, I almost lost my train of thought.
Train of thought. Oh, good. Goth Gremlin is present.
Look, if you can't hear the train, that joke's just going off the
driving
rails.
right past you.
All right. Archie was indeed not a vampire before starting to work with Harold. He was a regular old bootlegger, and then the Prohibition ended, and Harold was a major mob boss, kind of working behind the scenes, owning everything, and then caught word of this guy, Archie, who's just like got his little ragtag team of bootleggers, and he's doing very well. And then Prohibition ends, and he's like, I guess we should work together because I have a proposition for you. Guess what? Vampires are real, and you could start using your bootlegging skills to bootleg some blood.
There we go. Now.
So actually, there might be more.
Continue.
Does the question continue?
It does, but continue what you were saying. So he was not a vampire.
He was
when
not
he
a vampire.
Started the bootlegging.
The point in which I'll go ahead and say it. It's a future song segment, but technically the song's already out because Reapers is kind of Archie's main song. That is, it starts out lyrically talking about the beginning phases of working with Harold, and then Harold being too big for his britches. In Archie's mind, and Archie being just the right fit for his own britches in his literal, truthful mind. So he tried to usurp the throne from Harold. Harold goes to prison because of Archie, gets out, and Archie, in the meantime, while he was in prison, Archie gets gooned because Harold's guys are still out and about, and Harold's still in charge from prison. So Archie gets gooned and grabbed and buried alive. At which point, this is like a whole missing scene and chapter that's unfortunate because. Because Archie becomes a vampire in order to survive. So he has underground ties with vampires from his blood bootlegging. He's kind of a man of the people, if you will.
What I love is that this is new
Is it
to
making
me.
any more sense, or is
new
this
to
actually?
Me because I thought I understood how
Oh.
Archie became a vampire. It does kind of flow into the other question
That's
that
great.
Goth Gremlin asked, which was how did Harold keep a vampire as his pawn since he was not a vampire? You've made that clear kind of across the board. Harold is not a vampire.
Harold is not a vampire.
He's not a vampire.
Exactly. And Archie was not a vampire at the point of working with Harold.
Yes.
So, Harold needed his skills. Archie was really good at it and wanted to take over his whole throne. And then he got gooned.
So I thought, and correct me if I'm wrong, like this was how we told it vaguely in the stage show, was that when he got gooned, part of getting gooned was getting bitten. Like, he was attacked by vampires that worked with the blood bootlegging. That was totally my understanding about how Archie became a vampire, was through that.
This, I think we'll have uh, a. That's hilarious.
Isn't that funny?
Yes, that is hilarious. Well, uh, is anything really canon after all?
Not at this point.
No, he gets gooned. He gets thrown in and buried, and then saved from the grave. Basically, in my mind, it is the friends that he is playing with, is in a band with, basically. Like the band in Welcome to the Joint, or the band that Archie plays with in this underground jazz clubs where he's playing. He has made friends with them. And in my head, in the movie, we all had different characters. Each of the band members were playing different characters. Me and Joe were still the main people, the Archie and Josie characters. But Scott was going to play the one. Scott was going to be the one who digs me up.
That's right. I remember that now.
Little fun fact, Scott is not a vampire. Nobody's sure what Scott is. So he just takes me to the vampires and is like, here, your friend's about to die.
Do something about it.
And then I get bitten and I'm like, oh, the only way to stay alive is to be undead.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
That's great.
That is great.
Isn't that fun? I feel like there was a. Did I finish that answer?
I think so. 'Cause it was a lot about kind of the Harold and Archie relationship. So, pertaining to the release that just happened of Swingin' in Hell.
Oh yes.
What do you consider that kind of just like an opening song to the whole thing, or what role does that song play in the overall movie in your head?
Yeah.
Where does that song fall?
Yes, that's more like an opening song. That is, it is less story, but it does also fit in with Archie's. Though it happens before in the story, his transition. The way his transition is told, it's told as a backstory through the newspaper clippings and through. So Reapers is happening in real time, and he's saying, "Hey, this is what happened. This was what it was like." So, "Swingin' in Hell" fits as kind of just an intro song, and also his sort of transitional song. It's "Good Morning, What's His Face." Like he's waking up now as a vampire, and he's like, time to go kick ass.
Yes.
And some of it relates to the story. Some of it is just a personal pep talk song. A little, just doing some like.
Just some affirmations
Yeah,
in the mirror.
just kind of like
in the reflection he can't see.
Exactly, which is why that line is what it is.
Anthro just asked about Max and his possibly fraudulent badge. Was he part of the real Fuzz at any point? That's a great question.
He, not so much as we know. No, he was not. Max is legit, but he has terrible luck. He has gone from town to town, city to city, basically investigating these things, these supernatural things and missing people that nobody else can figure out. And he tries to get to the bottom of it. He's totally independent. He doesn't work for anybody. He tries to sell his stories, and nobody believes him. They think he's a hack. It's like, oh, there's a whole herd of cows missing in Oklahoma. I bet it's aliens. So then he'll go and like check out the crop circles, and everybody's like, that's Max. Get out of town. Mr.
What
Rudolph.
a weirdo.
Yeah, Yankee. So he does. He gets out of town, and so he's here, and that's why he's so frustrated at not being able to find the answers, because he really does want to get to the bottom of it, and he cares, and he also has a lot to prove because nobody believes him, and he needs a story that he can reveal because he knows this stuff is happening. He's seen it enough. He's never seen it like this.
It's true.
He's got a big
Tracy said
imagination.
he wants to believe.
He wants to believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. The truth is out there.
Yes. Oh, yes. He's looking for it.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So,
Very nice.
basically,
Who was the first character that you came up with in the story? Do you remember? Nightbot. Come on, Nightbot.
The first character was, you know what? That answer is going to be convoluted because I created some of the characters as one and then separated them. So there's a lot of parallels to what happens to Max as what happens to Josie. Not so much the vampire thing, and we're not getting into that too much.
Can't jump too far ahead.
But, I mean, their interaction with the vampires is a little different, but similar in that they find themselves stepping into this new world that they've kind of known existed, and they kind of seek help. So, Welcome to the Joint was the first one that I wrote, with kind of Josie's character in mind for the character to walk into the whole club, to the joint. But then through rewriting, Max Rudolph came in, so it was him who walked in, and we made that scene earlier with Josie.
Nice.
So.
Sean Bean.
We knew it.
Now he's undead.
He does. He really does. And he fits.
Let's see. Dustin Strange asked you, tacos or pizza?
Well, is it like
real hard
like me or like the character of Archie? Because I feel like
answer is both.
What if they're different? All right.
Then they're different. Archie, tacos or pizza?
I feel like he's a pizza guy.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
No garlic though.
No, hold the garlic. Maybe he was a pizza guy, and then after he changed, he had to switch.
That makes sense. Zach. Tacos or pizza?
Pizza. Pizza. I've had more tacos recently, but.
Some blood. I wish that had been your answer.
We'll fix it in post.
Zach wants blood.
Blood. Blood.
Blood.
Blood.
Oh, goodness. I was trying to think of the things that were released with Sleep O Sleep. So, hey, Jen.
Jen, welcome.
Glad you're here.
We've been getting into some lore.
Yes.
So.
Digging into some lore. If you have any questions, let us know.
Yeah. If we answered them already, then we're gonna say no.
Just make up a different answer.
Oh, that's even a better idea. You should ask tacos or pizza at some point, and I'm gonna be ready for it this time. Just throwing it out there. What were you asking about Sleep O Sleep?
Sleep O Sleep.
Yeah.
So that was one of the releases this week. Was Sleep O Sleep.
Yes.
So if you have the album, you know there is a reprise
Yes.
that comes along. Oh yeah, definitely took revenge on Harold for taking away pizza.
Yeah.
Andrew wants to know, is Harold really dead?
I don't know what you're talking about. Harold dies?
Who?
What happens? Who knows?
Who knows?
What's fun about this, and I kind of did it intentionally, I wanted to leave some opportunity for world building, lore building. I feel like some of these characters have not seen their last day.
Mm-hmm.
So there's plenty of backstory. There's plenty of front story.
Sure.
That could happen.
Side story.
Side story. So. Adjacent story. Yeah, for sure. So.
Oh, but I was gonna ask, Sleep O Sleep.
Yeah.
With the reprise. What came first? Was it 6 Feet later on in the album, or was it Sleep O Sleep? Did that come independently?
Sleep O Sleep came first. That actually, it kind of happened by accident that it worked so well with 6 Feet, because I was layering it, and the chords are a little different, and I have to change the chords in 6 Feet when the reprise comes back to match. And I think they might have been in different keys initially. Anyway, yeah, so 6 Feet, or Sleep O Sleep, started as a nice little lullaby that's like, this is how it should open. Yeah, and then 6 Feet was mostly written and was playing around with the chords in the chorus, and it just happened, and it was like, oh, you're a genius and you didn't even know it. You didn't even mean to. I was very happy when that turned out to be the case. It's the confirmation nice. I needed.
Mm-hmm.
So.
That's good.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Oh, that's a fun idea.
That's not a bad idea. There's actually a bunch of fun crossover stuff. This is the first album, actually, that's lived so far entirely on its own, so far. But tons of the other songs from the self-titled and from Monsters, there's a lot of overlap that is just in my head for now, and maybe there's going to be a way to tie them in together, but I like the way you think.
I do too. I obviously am a little partial to the Good Doctor.
Sure.
For puppety reasons,
Why
but
is
also
that?
for
yeah.
I assume, maybe incorrectly, that pretty much everyone here is aware of the fact that I built the Good Doctor puppet for the video way back in the day. That was the first collaboration that we did.
The first major collaboration. Yeah.
And since then, it's been a really fun challenge. Not so much now, since we've been performing the new album, we haven't revisited the Good Doctor as much, but for a while, it was a fun challenge every time we performed to find a new evolution for the Good Doctor, because the stage needs would change, and also, it's like we were doing a version of the music video for smaller stages that was just gonna get lost, so finding ways to make it bigger and weirder and scarier was really fun. So creating, I made a mask and was playing around with some mask sculpting. This was actually before I made, and I would actually say was a very big part of the Herald mask. I learned the process of adapting masks for that through making a Good Doctor mask for Festival of Ghouls 2018. I believe that's the one.
I think it was.
And I adapted because I haven't worked with latex sculpting at all. So like I adapted a mask that already existed, made it a moving jaw mask, and that was really the building block for making the mask for Harold as well.
Yeah.
So it
Which
does
I
all
think...
feed it the projects all feed each other over time, which is fun.
Yeah, that's actually that that segue, that was pretty good, because the suggestion was a good doctor builds Harold, and in a sense, out of the good doctor mask came Harold's mask. It's like it's already happened and could go even deeper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, what you're talking about adapting it to different size stages is kind of what we had to do with this. Even adapting it from the stage to uh, to film, having to do this live, you know, from doing it live, now doing it like this. And as long as we're on the subject of puppets, I'll just briefly touch on it because I feel like we can get, when we get closer to it, we can delve into the actual masks and the actual puppets, because we want to give you a whole tour of the phony puppets. But
that's true.
But that was one of those cases where we had this idea for a video that was much larger, and the whole thing was going to be life-sized, and it was going to take place in a speakeasy, and similar effects, as in I wanted it to be like very isolated, so that, you know, lots of like everything's washed out in black behind everybody, and then it's just tables and chairs and the subject there. So similar look as the phony video, but we found ourselves in lockdown, and there was no way that we could be around a room full of people and go to another place like we did for Welcome to the Joint, and get our friends together and recreate that. So that concept came out of, how can we do the same thing and make it tiny, but still act in it with our faces? And so the I'm calling it You're a Phony video came out, and
I'm excited to talk about that.
I'm
process
excited
eventually.
too.
That was a very silly and fun escalation of ideas. That was a good time.
It was marvelous.
It was a very good time.
Yeah, so when we get around to phony, when that because the video's already out, so you're not going to see a new thing, but you're going to see us newly talk about it, and we can show off some of the puppets.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking over at the puppets.
Oh, we just have the set pieces.
It's like they're right.
It's like they're just sitting there watching.
Puppets. They're just watching with their
headless
little
puppets.
headless puppets. It's actually Joe and Jillian and Andrew and Scott, and they're like, "Let me on stream." I died.
Oh, thank you guys. I love that video too.
And we'll show you all more about it. We'll talk about how we made it, and as well as the Herald mask on the future episode.
But
I believe will feature Andrew Farron.
Who is here now?
Who is here right now, who is indeed the man who played the part of Harold, the Diamond Hellsinger.
Did so well.
So,
a masterful performance.
Many, many, many new things to come. I want to continue all night. I want to make sure and also leave room for future things. So if anybody has any questions that they have to sneak in now before moving forward, but something I did want to. Aha! Clicky clicky. Everything is clicky. All right. It works.
You got it.
Yeah, if anyone has any questions as we begin to wrap up, but one of the funnest things about doing all of these videos that we're now releasing is being able to work with the variety of talent that we've had for so long, and so Surly Urchin being able to do the cinematic stuff and the film noir style stuff with Max Rudolph and more to come is so good, and it looks so good, and there's always something uh, when we get done with a project, when we do a show or when we do a video or a performance, there's always something that I look back on and I'm like, I would do this a little different, or like take notes and how that's great. It was great. It's a milestone. It was good for the time. These Max Rudolph segments I wouldn't change at all. I
Same.
love them so much.
Same.
And
they're so good.
Jordy Ravelette, who plays Max Rudolph, was phenomenal. He had done it a handful of times with Welcome to the Joint and with the live performance. He's so good. There was next to no direction needed. And Ryan made everything look so good in his new studio, his Surly Urchin Studios. And I'm so excited.
I can't wait for Ryan. I'm excited about all of these, honestly. I'm very, very excited for everyone to get to have a moment to talk about what they put into not only the album, but then the visual components of the album as well. Because it was so many hands on the project all the time.
For our live performances, for the full band live performances, such as Swingin' in Hell, Dune Bay Dune, who produced and recorded the album of the whole thing in his studio, also shot and mixed that together, along with Lindsay Freitas. So it was a great team, and we got to reuse a bunch of the old props and stuff from the live show to throw in there and
it was
bring
great.
it all to life. So it was.
Oh, sorry.
I'll allow it.
Okay, Jen Webb asked which song took the longest to record.
Ooh, good question, Jen.
I don't know that I know the answer.
I would say, so there were a few that took a long time, and they were for different reasons. Now, usually in the process of recording, most of these, the ones that I wrote anyway, I write them and I put them down on a demo of some kind, with all my parts and then ideas that I have for other parts, and send them to the other band, and then they contribute, and then we kind of settle on one that works. And I've been doing this for a while, but especially during quarantine when we were kind of finishing up some of these, that had to be extra that way. So from the beginning process itself of that, some of the ones that took the longest were the ones that went through the most amount of changes from the actual beginning to the end. Target Practice was among them, though once we got it, it was solid. But we have a performance that we did from a long time ago of Target Practice, and it was, I think, our first time we ever performed it, and it's different. Like, the verses and the chorus are the same, but there's no intro, and the bridge doesn't exist, and it's a very different song. So that one went through a lot of iterations for sure, and All Night to Find You took a while for me to get the lyrics right, because I wrote the instrumentally, I wrote it so fast, and then getting the lyrics to fit it. It was like, this can't change. This is the way the song needs to go. The structure is there. Now I need to fit the lyrics within that. And usually I kind of use it. It's a loosey-goosey kind of back and forth. The lyrics dictate the music, and the music dictate the...
It's a whole
it's
party.
A whole thing. Exactly. So this was one where it's like, music is finished. Don't touch it.
Yeah.
Sing on it. And...
Jove just found out that they can watch the videos with the CD. I'm so glad that you know this now. I'm sorry you're just now finding this out, but
I'm sorry we didn't make that clearer. No, it is a little confusing because it's or it's maybe just it's too easy to be real because you click on the song titles in the booklet, but I wouldn't have thought to do that. I'm sorry we didn't make it more clear. So, um,
hey, but now you know. You get a little sneak peek of what's to come,
tell
which
your
is fun.
friends.
Tell your friends.
And if you
Think
want
of
to just
questions.
follow along with us, you can like just not watch it. That'd be pretty cool. So, yeah.
Oh man, figuring out the pronunciation of the German lyrics was very funny.
Oh,
the
yes.
ways in which Jillian, Joe, and I found our way around it.
You all did great. I mean, I don't
none of us
speak it
speak
well,
German.
but I took some in high school and listened to a lot of German music. But so I knew enough of the pronunciation. But yeah, that. Thank you. That's Dracula, exactly. There's a lot of references throughout the album. All Night to Find You has a bunch of them. From vampire lore and from Dracula and old poems and undead stuff. A little bit of biblical stuff in there. So, you know, you're not going to have Dracula, son of the devil, without mentioning at some point.
It's true.
You know.
Schnell. Soviet Chicsa also asked you on Instagram, who do you think you are?
Soviet Chicsa, I'm the people's champion. Alright?
Perfect.
Thank you for your question.
Yes, it's a good question.
You knew the answer, though.
Alright, well yeah, Jove, definitely check out the videos if you want. Or wait.
Or just wait.
But be thinking about questions as you're watching, and any sneaky tidbits that you want to find out about.
There's going to be plenty more. Now, so you people can know what's happening. Every Monday and Tuesday, and some Wednesdays, we're going to be releasing new footage from Fool Me Once. And then every Wednesday, for the next 7 weeks, until it's all finished, we're going to be doing this. We're going to be going live with Fool Me Once Behind the Curtain. And I like the way that sounds.
It's nice. It's nice to be on this side of the curtain with the album. For it to be done. We were talking about it for so long before it was out, and it's nice to get to ask you questions about the lore and really dive in a little deeper now that it's all out and people can check it out.
It's fun for me to talk about it openly. Give the real answers here. I mean, I see most of the people, everyone in the chat, you guys, I know and we're familiar with you, and we know you've been listening to the music and listening to it since it came out, and the fact that you guys are showing up and wanting to know more and just hang out with us is super great.
It means a lot.
It means very, very much. Ooh, heck yeah. Good. Jove, I'm glad they arrived safely. We had some issues with the mail kind of out the gate with our album. I don't know if it was shortly before the holidays. I don't know what happened, but things were... There's a lot of missing pieces. Basically, Jove, I love to hear it because we're always on top of it with our merch and we send it out promptly. But the mails has been working hard. So thank you. For those of you interested in receiving some mail from us, our Bandcamp, we have all kinds of stuff on there. We have some shirts, and we have this album, and we have the last album, and the album before that, and a hoodie. You probably got a few more weeks to enjoy.
The best hoodie. And I'm going to enjoy that hoodie year round. It's so cozy. Everyone I know that has one says it's their favorite hoodie. I'm just gonna talk up the hoodie.
The hoodie is incredible.
It's the best hoodie I own.
Yeah.
It's so cozy.
And we have a few more booty shorts left that say,
Also
"Here
the
comes
best
trouble
thing.
against the hiney." So we're gonna we're going to be getting through this series and then looking at some new merch. But for now, we're riding on that. And Anthro, I want to highlight this. But if you're doing it for several weeks, it'll be fool me more than once behind the curtain. And yes, we do plan on fooling you multiple times behind many curtains.
Oh, yes, and the bottled brow sweat. Don't forget that.
Oh, yeah. I feel like, let's do some giveaways. We're going to do some giveaways. That is actually the plan. We're going to do some giveaways in the future episodes. Tell us as well, because we have this running several times. The thing we can guarantee is that there will be guests.
Mm-hmm.
And guests who helped make the album or were a part of the album or guested on the album in some way. And other members of the band who are going to be popping in and out. So, so the best way to keep up with us and to give us some more questions that maybe we can plan ahead for, because sometimes we can keep up with the chat, sometimes it's a little bit hard on the YouTube chat. So if we have some questions ahead of time, we can make sure to
Joe just gave you a perfect segue. Is there a Fable Cry Discord?
Well, I was getting there, and you know what, Jove? There is. It's called Fable Cry, and it's a place on Discord for Fable Cry people and fans and fiends. And we got a whole section there for Qs, and then we'll give you our As, and then we can hang out. There's also movie nights that happen every Saturday night where we hang out and watch movies, and it's a pretty fun time. And then our usual socials, Instagram and Facebook, and I'm preaching to the choir
Sometimes
here.
you just show up outside your door and it's like,
sometimes
blah!
you just, hi, what's going on? What's going on?
Just sing at you real fast and run away.
Hey, have you heard the one about the vampire? He misses garlic.
Oh yeah, Dusty, that would be great if you want to post the invite to Discord in the chat. That would be amazing. We're gonna fix Nightbot between now and the next time.
Nightbot.
We gotta get Nightbot sorted.
We don't like No, Nightbot does a good job sometimes. Also going to give you this here. Oh, you're gonna find out. I know you're curious. Boom. This has the schedule, and indeed it has. Now we're going to be updating the schedule as it goes, because, as I mentioned, this is happening for the next 7 weeks. The next 6 weeks. This is one of 7.
Yes.
So, check out the schedule there. Feel like this is wrapping it up.
Do you feel like this is a wrap?
I feel like this is wrapping up pretty well. Unless people have any last minute things that they just have to know right now. But I want to make sure and give room for the future streams that are happening. Now, next week we have Jordy Revelette, who played, again, the part of Max Rudolph, the investigator who just needs a win, damn it! So, he will be here live and in person. We miss him very much, and he is a dear friend of ours from years and years ago, and we basically just made him play Max, and now he's just doing that all the time. So
it
was
was kind of the way we could ensure that we would hang out with him as time went on.
Like, as many of you know who also are performers and just general busy adults living in life, is that you mostly see the people you like when you are working or collaborating with them. So that's why the band is basically just made up of my best friends and then the surrounding people. And so far, you know what? The rest of you are pretty nice too. So stick around.
Very charming. Very nice.
All right, dears and darlings, fiends and friends. We will see you again Monday for the next premiere and next Wednesday for some more fooling you behind this curtain.
Fooling so many times.
Fooling you more than any time. You can't count. I lost count. You're just fooled. You're fooled.
So many foolings.
It's
so many times.
just every time. All right. Hello, a total newbie here. Oh, this is a great place to start. Not because we're saying goodnight, but because we're explaining the lore. Tamara, thank you for joining.
Thank you so much for joining.
And
come back.
Stick around. Come back. We're gonna be right back here next week.
Next week.
In the meantime, see you on Instagram and Facebook and Discord. Okay. Miss you already.
Bye.
Abandon you must face